Welcome to the Wednesday Match Play, your weekly connection to the biggest and best brands in golf. On this show you will learn more about the latest golf fashion trends, hear from LPGA and PGA Tour players, get advice on planning your next golf getaway, and much more. Broadcasting live from Palm Desert, California, now on the tee, Ricky Potts.
Gabe is a big fan of the Ben Hogan irons. They have some significantly historic designs. Head over to letsplaythrough.com. Today is talking about their wedges. He got his hands on the new Fort Worth grind wedges. He is putting them to the test out on course, but first, let's take a closer look at these wedges.
Experience the spirit of St. Andrews with Eden Mill. From our award-winning gins and whiskeys to our craft beers, every sip tells a story of Scotland's rich tradition and modern innovation. Handcrafted with passion and precision, Eden Mill is more than a drink. It's a celebration of heritage, flavor, and the art of distilling. Perfect for toasting life's moments, big or small. Discover Eden Mill today and raise a glass to Scotland. Eden Mill, raise a glass to Scotland. Learn more at edenmill.com.
Loiale is a software platform designed to help businesses increase customer retention, loyalty, and revenue using AI-driven tools, especially for membership-based brands, retail, and e-commerce, clubs, restaurants, and similar businesses. On this episode of the Wednesday Match Play podcast, brought to you by Eden Mill St. Andrews, Romà shares where the idea for Loiale originated and the pivotal turning point that sparked him to bring the brand to life. He explains the meaning behind the name and outlines the non-negotiables he committed to when building the company. He also reflects on the setbacks and challenges he has faced along the way, discusses how they are leveraging AI with the business, and breaks down his recovery agent and the other layers of his brand. This was a data-driven conversation, and it was an honor to have Romà on the show. Let's tee off. Well, I am excited for this conversation for a lot of reasons. One, the two of us just connected just a few weeks ago, had an unbelievable conversation, and this guy's doing some really cool cutting-edge stuff, working with artificial intelligence, and who isn't at this point in the world. But this guy is on the cutting edge of some really neat things, and I'm just really excited to dive in here and go down a rabbit hole. But Romà, welcome to the Wednesday Match Play podcast, brought to you by Eden Mill St. Andrews.
Thank you so much, Ricky. Thanks for inviting me, and I'm happy to explain you what we're doing at Loiale. So,
well, let's just get started at the top. I mean, what was happening in your career or in the market that led you to co-found this company?
Yeah, so I mean, everything brings me back to university in my case, because I'm a pretty young person. I'm 24 years old. So my story begins when I was 17. I started building my first business. And it was always very related to technology. So I started programming when I was super young. I had also one of my best friends that was a developer for 10 years. And at that age, we were already so young. So he maybe started at 11 or 12 years old. Was pretty much a prodigy. So I was like the more like business focused guy, and he was more into the technicals. But then when we got to university, we started building our first serious venture, our first software company. And it's there where we started realizing how using software, you can do great things for businesses, like centralizing data, trying to use this data to empower those businesses. So this led us to this first venture, where we basically created a community platform that connected communities of content creators. So you would be able to purchase a piece of this community, and in that case we were using blockchain technology for that. And depending of if the community got more famous or less, the price of these keys to enter the community would increase, no? And then you had a marketplace and all this. So we had a fun ride there, and we spent like 3 years building that company. We ended up being like 15 persons in the team, raising money and doing like all the venture typical story. And then after these 3 years, we started seeing all the AI technology and how generative AI was advancing. It was with the start of ChatGPT 2, that we saw, oh, there's a real potential here, and this is something that we should start exploring. No? So that's when we started putting also our focus into this new venture that it's Loiale, where we basically saw how all these different companies have very siloed, very fragmented data, and they don't have like this system that is like the source of truth. And where also if you had everything well structured, you could use this generative AI to come up with new ideas, no, maybe things that us as humans, because of our limited time, no, we are not able to come with. So that's when we started. Well, let us basically to co-found Loiale.
Well, you've done a really good job with it, and you are young, as you mentioned, but you could never tell that based on the product and the experiences that you've had. And looking back at your professional journey, what experiences did prepare you to build a company focused on loyalty and intelligence and growth? Was there any one thing that really was the key turning point for you to make this transition into this brand?
Sure. Sure, but I'm glad that you asked this because there's actually a very important thing we saw. So when we were building our first company, the main thing we were trying to do is create connections, you know? And we realized that we were part of many communities in our day to day, even though we weren't conscient of being in that communities. An example, if I'm part of a golf club, so I'm probably part of a community there because I'm connecting with people. We are all interchanging experiences, interchanging communications, interchanging thoughts. And the same thing happens when you go to a specific school, a specific university, a specific church, a specific whatever. So we are all connected into different communities. And that one thing that struck us a lot when we were building that first company, and was basically how we make people connect better with other communities, and how we can be able to create more like compartments, communities that are more clear in its structure. And we saw that this is something super critical for brands. Because, for example, in the case of brands, in most of the cases, these companies are also trying to build a community. And for them, it's super important to have the basic structure, the basic infrastructure, technological infrastructure, to be able to create these connections with its consumers. No? So that's probably one thing that gave us like the experience of, okay, understanding how we create all this infrastructure, how we help them build this engagement between the community, and then when we went to apply to brands, we were much better prepared for it.
When you were first getting started, what did the first version of Loiale look like, and how has this platform evolved since then?
Yeah, so the first version, it was our main goal there was basically unifying the customer view. So we saw, for example, how in country clubs, you normally use or these all-in-one softwares, no? And then there's also these separated specific customers softwares like for the golf tee, you know, or other specific services that you are using, like separated softwares. So most of the times what happens is that you don't have like a unified view of all the customer points of a customer. So that was like the first thing that we wanted to solve at Loiale when we started. We realized that in that case that prediction alone, it wasn't only the product. So we needed also a layer of execution, no? And that was like the next phase of Loiale was, okay, now we have the customer view. You can see everything your customer is doing and see it in real time. I'm not looking at a report of the last month. No, I'm looking at what happened yesterday. But then the next version for us was how we can execute actions from this. No? And that's what we've built in the past year.
Well, the name is very distinctive, and it fits. I mean, things that you're doing here with this brand. but what does the brand stand for, and what is the deeper mission driving the company today?
Sure. So, I mean, Loiale stands for loyalty, basically, but not the old definition. So the old definition of loyalty was mainly point system, perks systems. We are looking a little bit deeper in that, and our main goal is to help companies know every customer and help them also grow every customer. So we want business to stop treating retention like a quarterly initiative and start running it like more an operating system, you know? Something that it's always on and that it's always learning.
As the co-founder, what were some of the non-negotiables for you when building the culture and the product and the long-term vision of this brand?
Yeah, sure. So for us, it was super important, and this is something that we had also in mind in the past when we were building products, is focusing a lot on the outcome um, over the rest of activities. No? I mean, if what we are building in terms of product, in terms of our vision, is not moving forward revenue, retention, customer experience, we don't ship it. So that's like one of the main analysis every time we are thinking on a new feature is, okay, is this going to increase revenue for our customers? Is this going to improve, but by that percentage, the experience of their customers? So if it falls into this category, then we can ship it. And then also there's, for me, two main other non-negotiables here. It's automation with guardrails. So we want AI to do part of our work, and it's very important that this AI is well controlled, no, and that it doesn't create more work. So this is for this is super important to put like the guidelines for AI and create separated systems that can understand where when AI maybe is coming with a bad output and on how to correct it. No? So, and then the third one for me is trust. So we can't build a successful company and a successful software business in that case if we don't have security in place, if we don't have the data discipline, and these aren't for us enterprise extras. These are part of for us of the foundation, no, of Loiale. So yeah, I would say these three main ones.
Well, every founder faces setbacks. What was an early challenge or a mistake that ultimately strengthened your company?
Yeah. Here, I think that I've seen a lot I mean, in the past, and I see it a lot in other entrepreneurs when we are starting, is that early on it's very tempting to build what looks like impressive. Yeah, I mean, you have this very ambitious goal, and you want to basically change the world with your solution. But it's very important to focus on which are like the smallest set of capabilities that produce a measurable impact. No, so um, for us, this discipline is like our main superpower because we are not trying to build a product with a lot of features that end up a little bit like well, not having any impact. But our focus is, okay, how do we create the less possible features, but that are providing the most outcome? So this is, I would say, like the main one for each. And it happens a lot in entrepreneurs.
At its core, this brand emphasizes keeping data in a centralized location, and I think that's important. And why is centralized data so critical for modern organizations, especially as we're moving into this phase of artificial intelligence?
Yeah, sure. Because, I mean, if you think on not having a single source of truth, I mean, having a place where you have all the data connected, it's impossible to not get blind spots and delay and risk. I've seen a lot of software companies, maybe a little bit more legacy, that have this side of having this data a little bit fragmented. What ends happening is big delays. And maybe you think, okay, I have the data in place and I know how when my customer maybe is churning, and I know which customers should maybe upsell. But because they look at it a month after, because my report is monthly or my report is even weekly. I mean, the day in today's era, everything is so fast that you need to have all this information not in place by the week, not in place by the month, but having in place by the second, even. I mean, every interaction is going to become more faster. So if you don't have all this, you are not prepared for the AI era. If you have all these delays, the actions happen too late for you to be able to have a very meaningful impact on your revenue, basically. And then you have a lot of risk of governance on security become harder because data is very scattered. If you at the same time don't have like these reports well put and these single source of truth, we would say.
What are the biggest risks businesses face when their customer data lives in disconnected systems or in siloed platforms?
Yeah. So the main thing we see here is that the businesses that have all these disconnection in system end up having always very misaligned KPIs and that end up duplicating their work. If you look at their insights, there's a lot of contradictions a lot of times. And then also they have higher security and compliance risk because you can control with what you can see. No? So if you don't have this in place, I would say is your first task to do. And more in the AI era, where you'll have basically a competitive advantage if you are able to have all the data well structured. Yeah.
Well, artificial intelligence is everywhere right now. How is AI meaningfully embedded into this solution, and how does it go beyond just being a buzzword feature?
Yeah, I love that you make that question because I see it all the time. Nowadays, if you don't have the term AI in your website, you are not cool. So having AI for us was not a end as a product, was a mean. No? So that's a problem that we did. I mean, an error that I did in the past is that maybe because you are so romantic in the technology, you end up putting it as an end instead of as a mean. You get obsessed with your product and not solving customer problems. So in our case, how we were thinking about AI is more like an operator. I mean, we didn't think it as a future. We didn't want to create a product that was software and then put AI maybe to do a specific process. We wanted to create AI that was doing the process, the whole process, and then put software on top of it, so to make better the user experience, no, of the software. So for us, the system knows what customer needs next and delivers it proactively. I mean, it will tell you the right message, the right time, the right channel, and this next best experience is exactly where AI creates durable value, because then you have integrated data, what we were saying before, and then you have, in our case, our predictive models and orchestration. And you can do, okay, I know what's happening in my business. I know what's happening in these membership-driven businesses, that it's mainly where we focus on. And I can use these predictive models then to execute actions. No? So, hey, tell to this customer that they should come next week because we have this special dinner. Or let's try to talk with this customer that maybe did a complaint in the past. Let's try to improve their experience with this new offer, etc., etc.
How does AI help organizations better understand behavior, predict outcomes, and proactively drive retention? And I think you might have just highlighted it there with inviting someone to come out to a special dinner or reaching out to people that are not as engaged as they once were.
Yeah, absolutely. So we basically unify all signals into a live profile, and then we are able to predict churn, customer lifetime value, the upsell likelihood, and then recommend all these next best action. No? So you'll basically have this panel where you'll be able to see course, all your customers, but then where AI is seeing opportunity, business opportunity, for you to execute. And the key is closing the loop. So every intervention becomes new data and making decisions better over time. So AI will also understand what impact those next best actions had in the business, and will be better, will improve with time in order to come with better insights. No, that's also very key.
Let's break down the agents within your ecosystem. Can you summarize the recovery agent and explain the specifics and the problems that it solves?
Yeah, so can I explain you like the three main, well, we have four mainly, but the three main are the recovery agent. So we could separate our business in these three main layers, no? The first layer, centralization of the data. Second layer is where you have all these insights coming, and then the execution part. So in this execution part is where we would have the recovery agent, which basically is designed to recover at-risk revenue before it's lost. I mean, it will think about failed payments. It will think about churn risk users, abandoned paths, and it's the agent basically that protects this downside, no? Then we have also this other growth agent, and its main difference is that it's focused on the upside, no? So how it predicts the next best product or offer, there is upsell and cross-sell, and leaves the basically the output. So it's not spamming you. It knows every customer, and it personalizes every communication to be super, super, super sharp. And then the third one I would say is the loyalty concierge, where it's the customer-facing assistant for loyalty. It will explain the benefits. It will manage all the rewards and nudges at the right moment. So the program and also, well, the communications with the with the customer, and also all the different services get used. No, so we have if I have a problem, if I need something about this specific club, for example, I would go to this loyalty concierge, and it will check around all the different services and products it's providing me, trying to bring me the best one for me, and the one that it's more suited for me.
How does the growth agent differ from the recovery agent? And what maybe are some measurable impacts that you have seen it have on revenue generation?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the main difference is that the growth agent is basically focused on the upside, versus the recovery one, no, that it's much more focused on recovering this revenue before it's lost. We are seeing a lot of impact. I mean, it's being a little bit crazy because we started being very cautious how we use AI, and having very concrete use cases, no, where we would say, okay, so you have this specific problem, maybe you want to increase upsells. So let's focus specifically on that case, and we started doing very high personalization. Our software can create hundreds, thousands of different segmentations and focus the message for each one. So we are increasing, for example, our reply rates for email campaigns in some of the businesses we're working by more than 50%. We're already seeing increase in increments, for example, in upsells of the 18% in one membership club. So yeah, it's a big interesting, know how the power of personalization can do in this more in this upside, no? The growth vision.
How do these agents work together inside the ecosystem to create a continuous intelligence loop?
Yeah. So the thing that's one question that we had at the beginning, no? And we were thinking, okay, what should be the priorities of these agents inside the business? Because at the end you have a lot of data. If you have a single source of truth, and you have implemented and unified all these sources of data, you end up with a lot of information, no? So that was one very important thing, how we create this loop inside our system, no? So we have, for example, one that recover the recovery one protects the revenue, the growth one expands it, and then we will have, for example, concierge, the loyalty concierge that increases the adoption and experience. So having this loop of signals, prediction, action, and then feedback, that's what that was for us the loop that compounded the most. And because the system learns what actually moves behavior with time, it will increase its return of investment. It will increase its outputs.
I'm really curious about the budget optimizer. What is that? How does it work? And how does it help organizations allocate resources more strategically?
Sure. So the budget optimizer comes from one problem we saw a lot in consumer businesses is that you end up doing this return of investment wars with your offers, and you are not in most of the cases we see businesses that are not protecting the margins, and they are trying to grow a lot. They end up growing with this structure of very aggressive offers, and after some time, these customers end up churning. So they don't have a good return of investment. No? So this was super important. So we created the budget optimizer basically to protect these margins while maximizing the return of investment. So it will allocate the incentive spend dynamically and with all these real-time guardrails I was explaining before. So you're not buying retention with waste. So if you're offering something, it will understand for this specific group of customers, okay, is it the right decision to do to offer this offer? Maybe it's not. So it's in real time working on that area.
Who are some of the types of clients that you're currently working with, and what are some common challenges that they are trying to solve?
Sure. Our current focus is on subscription-driven businesses. We do that because we see that for them it's very key on retention and having this repeat behavior is part of the business model. You know? So the common challenges we see there are, of course, fragmented data, having this limited personalization when having all these communications, and then the operational bandwidth. Most of these businesses have a high operational, are very intense, no, in its operations. So they don't have much time to do all the segmentations to personalize the communications, right? So they end up having very general communications. And for example, I can put you an example here. Working with country clubs, we have a few logos here. At the current stage, we maintain them private because we are in pilots. And for example, we're working with travel clubs. We're working with lounges. Enterprise that has 6,000 lounges around the world in the airports. So we're working on all these different business. We maintain them private in their logos right now because we're in pilots. But I would say the main challenge the challenge that they have are very common in all of them. No? All these companies maybe already have some data infrastructure instead, but a lot of times it's fragmented and they have very limited personalization.
As we move into the spring and summer months here, it's crazy how fast this year is going by. How are you looking to grow your client list? And are there any specific industries or partnerships that you are targeting?
Sure. We work a lot with, we're trying to work a lot with associations. We're trying to work a lot with agencies, a lot with consultancies. So with all these places that already build the trust with the main players in the area, and that can understand very well our solution because they have a lot of depth knowledge in the space. For example, country clubs. They have a lot of these companies or these associations have a lot of knowledge there and can see the potential of our platform being used. No, so we're trying to create all these partnerships there, and our main industries currently are, very varied. We have travel clubs. We're working with vacation clubs. We're working with other membership driven businesses like country clubs. We are working also with, for example, a streaming service. We just partner with basically the biggest sports streaming company here in Europe, to build them Loiale inside the platform and work with more than 20 million users. So these are the kind of partnerships that we're looking, but then also going to very different businesses, but where at the end the challenge is very similar. No, in country clubs, there you have very scattered systems. There not that much personalization as we think. So we're trying to end up having one-to-one personalization. That's for us the key thing. So growth-wise, we'll scale through a mix of direct relationships and strategic partnerships, where we can integrate very deeply into their existing stack, no? And they have the knowledge on this space, but we come with all this technology, and we can build the trust with them.
I learned a lot about data breaches and cybersecurity at the 2026 CMAA World Conference in Anaheim. How are you addressing cybersecurity, and what are some protections that are built into your platform to keep users safe?
Yeah, security, as I said before, is one of our foundations. So we are GDPR compliant. We support zero data retention mode for enterprise use cases, and we then also have all these data encrypted end to end. So we can provide you also with all these logs, audit logs, and in our case, European or US data residency options. This is super key, and more in this era where if you want to put AI in place, you first have to have the data, but it can be very dangerous if you don't have it well securitized, no? With all the cybersecurity best practices.
For leaders listening at home, what are a few cybersecurity best practices that you could recommend, and regardless of the system that they're using?
I would say, for me, the basic wins are having, like, for example, least privilege access is important, or having consistent patching, employee security training. I would say that creating this culture inside the company around the importance of cybersecurity is going to be super key in the next era. Because of all these AI systems, autonomous systems that are going to be attacking companies a lot, are going to be attacking individuals inside these companies. So creating this culture from the day one, it's very important. And then most breaches happen when these fundamentals sleep. So have this in mind. It's going to be very important.
There's a lot of information out there about all of this stuff. I mean, AI and cybersecurity and technology. Where are you going to find your information? What websites or blogs or newsletters are you following on a daily and weekly basis to get your information?
So I'm this kind of person that, I mean, I don't have like a specific place where I take everything. I normally combine, and I like a lot real time information media outlets. When I say this, I mean, for example, Twitter. Twitter is for me the place where I learn a lot of stuff. Of course, you have to be very critic there and understand what maybe is false, or maybe is has maybe these different points of view. But then you can find a lot of information, and if you want to be the super updated, probably is the best place. Be on Twitter. Then also LinkedIn is another place where I learn a lot, and I see all these individuals that are building the last technology in the space, posting everything. So I would say these two are for me the best places to be very updated.
Is this solution designed primarily for individuals, small teams, or larger organizations? And how does this platform scale as a company grows?
Sure. At the beginning, we were thinking more into mid-market companies, and every time that happens, we are focusing more and more to larger organizations. So the thing we see is that for us, if data readiness is super, super key. So we go to these organizations that already have some of these, we would say, first party data, no, very well put in place, and that they also have behavioral data. So if they have a data warehouse, it's where Loiale, for example, can plug in, get all this data and structure it and start working from it. If you don't have the right systems in place, it's very different, very difficult for us. So I would say these companies tend to be mid-market enterprise to a little bit more higher enterprise. That's where we are putting our effort. And the main way we are doing is following this design partners strategy, where we, for each industry, we try to partner with one or two main players, where we can build a success case, show how the platform is going to increase them at 10% in revenue because of all this AI working 24/7 for them, and then from it start scaling these specific industries. No? So we're working now with 6 different industries where we are building success cases in each one of them. And that's basically our main go-to-market.
Who are some of your primary competitors in this space, and how do you differentiate yourself most clearly?
Yeah, so when we started, I would say our main competitor would be loyalty platforms, the ones that manage point and pairs, and then also many CRM tools, customer relationship management tools, that would manage all the communications. So our differentiation here is being the one that really unifies all customer information, and you have this second brain working for you. And then also the agentic execution, no? That we have, aside from all these insights, a system that is able to execute the next best action for your business. That I would say is like the main differentiation, is that our system, and if you go to 99% of the software businesses, CRMs out there, they will be reactive. Maybe they have some AI put embedded in the product, but it's reactive in the sense that, okay, if I want a new segment, I have to create it. If I want a new communication, I have to create it, maybe with the help of AI. But in our case, is basically AI making everything. And then you review. And it's very important here, having the human and understand everything, and having more the in-depth knowledge of the business. But it's AI being able to scale a specific marketing operation to 24/7, working, creating hundreds of thousands of segments and hundreds of thousands of different communications. So that's what I would say is like our main differentiation. And then in terms of competitors, it will change a lot depending on the industry. We're going to industries where maybe there's competitors that can become also our partners, because maybe they have a very only one product, and we want to be like this next extension, no, of the communications part, and be able to integrate with them. No? So for example, in Concho Clubs, there's like these 3 main players that have these all-in-ones. So in that case, we would love to be like this leverage for communications and work side by side with them in order to improve, no, the businesses they work with.
Well, why should an organization choose you instead of just building a solution internally or working with a more established provider, like one of those 3 that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, at the end, it's a matter of there's 2 options, no? Here, as you said, one is building internally. But if you're building this internally, you are basically signing up to run a permanent R&D program. So you'll have to create everything from zero, and then you'll have to maintain it. And you have to maintain it up to date, to work with the last models, with the last AI models, have all the governance, have all the integrations, the identity resolution systems, the orchestration layer. So this is a lot of work, and basically you are creating another company inside your company. So I would think it's much better to subcontract this to another system, to another software company that it's 24/7 working on improving it, than not creating it you yourself and maybe putting an agency to create this for you, and because then you won't maintain it, and the price that you'll have to pay will be much bigger, no? So I think that's one thing. And then the other thing is, why not choosing the competitors of us, is because with our competitors, maybe you get this system that has some AI put that can help you, but with us, you are basically gaining productivity. So you're gaining 10x your productivity, because now it's not you having to go each of one of these actions that you would do in the past. Is one, having real-time information of your business, understanding things that you weren't capable of understanding, because maybe you would see a specific insight. Okay, there's this group of customers that maybe is leaving the next year, no? But you wouldn't have like 100 different insights of things that are failing your business, or things that could be improved, and that now you have. No? So that's something that we are the only ones providing, because it's proactive. It's completely proactive, the system.
What does it cost to get started? Are there pricing tiers? Is there a free trial or a pilot option available? Walk me through a customer that's wanting to get started using this solution.
Yeah, Ricky. So at this moment, we focus a lot on building these success cases, as I mentioned before. So we are very selective on the companies we work with. We already had hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 conversations with companies since we started. And we're just selecting the ones that we see that fall in a few categories, mainly the data readiness. No? So once we start working with these companies, we can do pilots. And we want them as partners. No? So where we can produce very, very concrete and very real return of investment. So our pricing is based on credits. You buy a pack of credits, and the usage of AI consumes credits. So we designed it that way to align with price with the output. And that's a very cool thing about AI, is that you can fall now into these systems that, depending on your intensity of use, you'll pay less or more, no? And this use is normally very, very attached to return of investment. So it's more like cloud compute than traditional SaaS, where you would pay a seat, no? And it's always the fixed seat. In our case, it's you buy these credits, and depending on your use, maybe next month I'll have to buy more credits, but it's very, very, very aligned with my usage.
Where is the best place for people to learn more about you and everything that's happening with this brand? I mean, it's getting started, but you're making a lot of progress, and the future is bright.
Sure. So we are mainly in LinkedIn. That is where we try to post a lot, both the founders, but also our team. And we try to be very open there. We try to be very transparent with what we're building, how we are building, who we are partnering with. So if you want to follow us, follow us in LinkedIn, Loiale. And then also in our website, you can see everything too, loiale.com.
You talk about your team. Besides the two founders, how many other are working with you?
Yeah, so we are 6 persons on the team. So my co-founder, it's the CTO, basically in charge of all the technical stuff. But then we have 2 other persons in the go-to-market space. So we have salespersons, but basically they do all kinds of things regarding go-to-market. They can also do content. They can do partnerships. And then we have 2 other developers. One of the things that we learned from the past is having a small organization, but super, super skilled people in the organization. Of course, they have to fall into these the cultures that the culture and this culture fit now that we have. But for us was everyone in our company has to be the best at it. if we want to grow fast, no, and to scale fast. And more at this current stage where, okay, we are still not in the scaling hyperscalation phase. We're more into the how do we build, no, all these success cases per industry.
How are you archiving those success stories and how are you sharing those with potential clients?
Um, so yeah, so right now, the next 12 to 24 months is going to be about the default becoming the default operating system for customer revenue in the subscription businesses. So the next 12 to 24 months is going to be a bit about going much deeper on autonomy, creating more integrations, creating tighter decisioning, and making agents that execute this reliably across all the channels that the business have. No? And basically, for us, the end state is very simple. It's having businesses that stop running on campaigns and start running on compounding revenue engine. This means the loop I was explaining before, no? Having all the information well centralized, having all this second brain of the operations leaders that is coming with all the insights, and then having all these different agentic workflows, the recovery one, the growth one, um, launching the campaigns personalized per person, personalized per customer.
We have covered so much today. I feel like we just started talking. What are some questions that I'm not asking that I should be?
Sure. That's a very big question that you're making me here. And it's not easy to respond because I wouldn't say there's one, and there's thousands of questions. And the thing here is changing so fast, this space, because every week you have a new model, a new AI that is being launched, a new product, that it's very very difficult for this. I mean, to keep up, no, in this very fast pace. But for me, a very big question would be, how do you make AI safe in these operations, and not just something that, okay, it's accurate and that brings you a lot of productivity for your business, but in the real world, the win is, okay, automation, but with guardrails, so that you have something that it's that has auditability, that has permissions, that has constraints, and a system that reduces work instead of adding it. No, and this for me is probably the biggest thing that you can and one of the main things you have to focus, and more if you're working with mid-market to enterprise companies, is how you make it very safe to have AI put in place in your company.
Well, let's you and me tee it up soon. I know you're on the other side of the planet, but let's go play some golf. When and where are we playing?
Sure. I'm glad you asked this. So I'm from Spain. I'm from Barcelona. I move a lot around the globe right now because, I mean, we go to Latin America. I went to Asia last month. Going to the States soon, I hope. But if you come to Barcelona, in my village called Sant Cugat del Vallès, we have a very beautiful golf club. So if you come there, I'll make sure you hit some. You can go into all the holes, and then we can take a cold beer in the 19th hole.
Well, I tell you, I was in Barcelona a few years ago. I wish I would have known you then, and I would have stopped by and said hello.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the next time you come here, and I can show you this golf club, and also we have a few more outside Barcelona that are pretty cool. And also when they're in the mountains, we have in the Pyrenees, in the Catalan Pyrenees, we have also very beautiful one. It's called Fontanals. If you go there sometime, it's for me it's like this dreamy landscape. Playing golf there, it's very very magic.
Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. What book are you currently reading?
Um, right now, I'm rereading the hard things about hard things. Um, it's a book that for me it's like painfully relevant. I mean, it's like showing you, um, and I feel so reflected every time I read this book. So I like to reread it every time I can, because it's my life right now. Building a software company is absolutely in that book. But then, in my case, I love, of course, the typical one, 0 to 1, no, um, high output management, all these different books. Um, and then outside business, I like a lot of philosophy. So I read a lot about the classics, but then also more modern philosophers like, René Giralt. It's one that I love it, and I would recommend you a lot. And I think in that time where, okay, we have a lot of technology, and having humanities and reading a lot about humanities is going to be something very key, for us as a society, I think.
This is always a fun question for me to ask, but who is in your dream foursome and where are you playing?
So for me, going for Sebe Ballesteros, because I'm Spanish for sure, and his pure creativity. And then for me, well, Tiger, of course, for the mindset. I mean, I'm not an expert at golf. I've been learning for the past few years. I live very near to a golf club, and my friends are pretty intense going there. Um, but I'm not, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself yeah, as you say, an expert. So don't take my things with caution. And then maybe Rory for modern excellence, no? And um, yeah, I would say these would be, for me, the main ones.
Well, you mentioned Tiger, and I am Tiger's biggest fan. I arguably have the world's largest collection of Tiger Woods memorabilia, so be careful how you answer this one. But he's tied with Sam Snead with 82 official PGA Tour wins. I think he's coming back. I think he plays a lot of golf this season. Do you think he gets one more win before he retires?
Hopefully, there's one more. I think I love the mentality, the mindset that he has, and it's something so inspiring. And one thing I've learned in from the past is never bet against, obsession. So if there's anyone that is absolutely obsessed with its goals and its legacy, it must be Tiger, and he has proved that he can do the impossible, no? So let's see. Let's see. I hope he does. I hope.
Well, looking ahead, what's next for you and this brand, and what excites you most about where the brand is headed over the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, for us, it's about becoming this operating system, no, inside all these enterprises, and that we can be there, um, not maybe substituting, all the other software that they have in place, but being this extension, being this productivity layer for the business, where we can help them scale the whole communications, scale the whole, knowledge about the company, and that we can have in the future companies that, are better with their customers, no? That they are connecting more with them, that they have better relationships, and they have better products, better offers. So that's for us, like the next 12 months is about go deeper on this autonomy, putting more integrations, improving a lot of the product, making tighter decisioning, and connecting more, across all these channels. And I would say this, and then I hopefully after 24 months we have many many success cases across all the industries I mentioned, and that we have all these businesses, running a very very personalized campaigns.
Step into the heart of Scotland with Eden Mill Scotland Experiences. Journey through the art of craft distilling, where tradition meets innovation. From blending your own gin to savoring the finest whiskeys, every moment is a celebration of Scotland's rich heritage. Whether you're a whiskey enthusiast, a gin lover, or simply an adventurer at heart, Eden Mill offers experiences you'll never forget. Book your journey today and create memories to last a lifetime.
In golf, the 19th hole is a slang term for a bar or a restaurant on or near the golf course, very often in the clubhouse itself. A lot of good ones where you are. What is your favorite 19th hole, and what are you drinking?
Sure. But the most important question for sure. I would say, I mean, I'm still discovering them. But for me, anything that is relaxed and where you can have a great conversation will work for me. So, as I was saying, here I have a very nice golf club in my place in San Cugat, where I live. So I will go usually there. I take my cold beer, or maybe if it's a little bit later, a simple gin tonic.
Well, gin and tonic is one of my favorite cocktails, and I use diet tonic because it's got more flavor, and I can drink more of them and not feel worried about the amount of calories. So I love a good G&T.
Yeah, no, it's for me. It's also my favorite content. So it works also with that. Well, cold beer, it's one that you can take more. I mean, I normally take more beer, but it doesn't too. Great.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. What a fun conversation, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you. And you are a wealth of knowledge and have a lot of stuff going in the right direction for a product and a solution that's going to really make an impact in this business. And I enjoyed the demo that we did a few weeks ago. But just keep up the great work, my friend. I can't wait to see where you go and grow from here.
Thanks so much, Ricky, for making the time for covering Loiale, for making this amazing job of connecting with professionals across the golf industry, but across other industries. No, in this case, covering more about high tech. So yeah, it's awesome, and I'll try to keep you updated. If you want to follow us on LinkedIn, you will see everything we are doing, every production we are doing, and I hope eventually we can keep this great work and help everyone that is hearing us and improve their businesses.
That puts this instalment of the Wednesday Match Play podcast in the books. But we'll be back next week for another exciting episode of the show.